It's time for the Calgary Flames to listen to their fans and go in a new direction. I can tighten that headline up. Rebuild. Bobby Germany's laid it out. Robert Munich, the reasons why. A little fan apathy, a lack of top-end talent on the roster, and an aging core. It's worth a read. Make some compelling points there. Now, this season is not a write-off, but if we arrive at American Thanksgiving and they continue to win 2 out of every 7 games, I just don't think right now is the time that Connie should be doing anything with those extension contracts. Leave those in a drawer. Pull them out if you're in the playoffs at the trade deadline.
What if you feel, and I'll just use Hanifin because he's the most recent name.
Yep.
And you talked about it yesterday. I think you're yesterday and the day before, whatever.
Yeah.
What if you feel you're getting really good value? What if it's a deal where you're coming in?
Sure, do it. Yep. I just don't think guys are hanging around for really good value. I think it's going to be Devon Taves territory. And if you pick between Hanifin and Taves, 32 out of 32 GMs
I don't think it's that much.
You don't think it's going to start with a 7?
No.
All
I
right,
don't think it has to.
Just stop. Just stop it. You two and your bickering. I need you to put your GM hats on.
I got it on.
Trade him.
That's a Blades hat.
Yep. Wasey Rabbit gave me this hat.
He's a beauty.
Friggin' love Wasey.
Who needs a guy like Hanifin?
Probably like half the league.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, well, pick a team.
Let's say
you're going to have to Google them because my point.
It's going to be a team.
What I'm trying
Buffalo
to
is
say
one we
is,
thought of, but a playoff version of
Buffalo. It's going to be a team that feels we got to
be an Ottawa.
We're going to get in.
Maybe a Detroit.
Okay, but
sure.
Either. So you're the GM of one of these teams. What are you parting with? Not what Calgary wants.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking what the rate is. I mean, I look at what the Flames paid for Hamonic. I look at what the Bruins played for Hampus Lindholm. I look at what Dougie Hamilton moved for. Like, I just think there's kind of an established rate for what D-men go for.
I don't think Hamilton.
Dougie Hamilton wasn't an expiring contract at a deadline.
No, of course not. But it's just, yeah, that's not a great comp. Neither was Hamonic. He had some term left. But my point is that there's a lot of D-men that you'd put in a similar box to Hanifin that have gone for a first and a couple seconds or a second and third.
I worry that he's not elite.
No.
And you need a specific set of skills. A team has to have the need, the room, like Hanifin, and have assets and be willing to give it all up. It's a lot of boxes to check for the Flames to get the deal that you think they're going to get.
At the deadline, it's easier. Right now, I think it'd be really tough to get that deal.
Go ahead,
Rhett. You're going to say something.
No, I'm going back just to say, like, even if it is at the deadline, are you getting the evaluation is whether or not it's worth keeping him? And as a team that's going to trade for him, are they trading for him for a cup run and letting him go to free agency?
It's up to them. I mean, you certainly have the right to extend the guy.
But
again, for the Flames, you'd want it to be not for a
rentals have gone for a first for D-men similar to him. I don't know that changes a ton, but yeah, for example,
because I think it changes a ton because the next question you have to ask yourself is, okay, so they're willing to give up a first and pay him Devon Taves because that's what he's going to want, right? And if he goes to free agency, that's what he's going to get.
It's like the Tkachuk thing. You knew you were going to get more for him if you had an extension in place. If the team getting him wants an extension.
And you could do that. You could say, hey, we'll do a sign and trade. Here's 8 years and lower that AAV because the most another team would be able to get him for is 7 because he was acquired mid-season. You can't give him 8 years. Yeah, I think it's like January 1, whoever holds his rights, something like that.
I didn't know that.
Anyway, it's whatever. I might be off by a little, but
there's
a cutoff where the 8 years ends if you move after that point of that final season.
Are you wanting a guy that can play 23 minutes a night for the next 8 years, or are you wanting a prospect that might be Cale Makar?
Well, and again, it gets back to the what are we doing here?
Well, and the other thing,
because if your owner's telling you this year might go off the rails, but we got to make the playoffs next year. Well, yeah, you need Hanifin. Or if the owner,
that's kind of honestly that slipped out.
Jeez,
in what world are we living?
Well, that's what I mean.
We're going to make the playoffs next year and not this year.
So
see, Jack,
I'm sorry. That honestly,
sorry, Jack.
I jumped.
Really?
My apologies to everyone. Please,
the owner wants to make the playoffs every year. And only when it's been so blatantly obvious to everyone else forever that it finally becomes obvious to him has he rebuilt. And that was
even
Jay Feaster here when they waited too late to trade Jerome, when
we
you
all
knew
know,
that team couldn't
we
win.
know.
So at some point, this team may be bad enough that he goes into a rebuild. But also, it's like the guy still wants to make the play. Like, I don't know what the owner wants. Do you?
Well, every team wants to make the play.
Well, everybody wants the, yeah. But even if you commit to you're not going to have a bunch of 17-year-olds. You're going to have some veteran guys playing on the team, and you could do worse than having Noah Hanifin at 30, 31,
But if you don't
32.
trade Hanifin and recoup some picks and stock the cupboard, does it not extend the length of the rebuild process? Now, my point is, you have to hit on all of them then, right? You can't miss.
Your job, if you're actually doing a rebuild, isn't to put a mediocre team on the ice the next 3 years. It's to get high picks and collect as many first rounders as you
Noah
can.
Hanifin not be part of a very good hockey team?
But it isn't, could Noah Hanifin help this team or not? It's what's he worth at the deadline?
Understand.
Compare the pile of assets to what he does. Like Noah Hanifin might cost you 5 points and you pick 7th instead of 2nd next year.
That's true. But again, then you start digging into him more. Okay, well, if he's going to a team that's going to make the playoffs and they just want a rental, you're picking what? 22nd?
Well, here's to make it even simpler, I would say this. If you can get a first and for Noah Hanifin, I'm trading him.
Good, thank you.
If I can get just a first, I'm thinking long and hard about it.
Yeah.
If I can't get a first and it's a second or like at 2 seconds, one this year, one next year, then I think you really have to think long and hard.
If you can sign him.
If that's
and I'll add another layer to that, because it's not just, okay, we don't know what teams are offering, but we also don't know what the contract that Craig knows he'll sign. So if it's 7.5, it's like, Jesus, no. And if it's like 6.25, oh yes, please hurry, sign that. We could trade that at any point. That's value. We don't know either of those things, so we are kind of talking about mystery box A and B, whether it's what's he worth in a trade or what contracts.
You know what it is? We're doing some hot take-a-tude. Hot takery
I think it's
here.
A good conversation. A lot of fans are having. What do you do with Noah Hanifin? Because he's not 30. This isn't Lindholm. He's quite a bit younger.
That's my thing. Is you could sign him to a long-term extension,
like
and he's still going
deal,
to be.
He'll be 33, 34.
But what other assets
really
are you
well.
moving to fill the where you're going to bring other guys in?
I know.
So Tanev's a free agent. Shillington's up. Who knows where that's at? But either way, I would count on.
I don't want to be a putz, but Shillington is out of the picture.
So this is my point. They don't have like, if you're penciling him to next year's lineup, you're crazy, right? So that's an empty spot. Like they have 2 defensemen under contract next year: Weegar, Anderson. So you can go out and go find 2 or 3 Troy Stetchers at $1.5 million a year and fill that up. But if you want to be bad, you'll be bad.
Oh, why are you taking a run at Stetcher?
No, he's a great third pair guy, but you can go find free agent third pair guys. That's what I'm saying, right? But you're not going to be able to go find a top 4 defenseman with any ease. You have to trade huge assets to get them or spend a lot in free agency. So if you're trying to be good next year, you want Noah Hanifin. If you're trying to rebuild, you want first rounders and young assets.
Or if you're getting value, or if you're getting huge return. Those are the 4 kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're on the same page here. It would be really, I think the biggest misconception the owner has is that he thinks this building is going to be empty for 3 years if they rebuild.
I just think that Noah Hanifin isn't going to bring the haul that you think or we want him to.
What I'm going to do.
He's not elite. He's not a big point producer. He can play a lot of minutes and doesn't, he's good, very good skater, doesn't hurt you, isn't elite, but I don't think this guy puts us over the top.
What was Hampus Lindholm for the Bruins, and how do you feel about him compared to Noah Hanifin?
The Boston Bruins had the best regular season in NHL history. I'm not asking about how good
they were. I'm asking about 2 years before that when they traded for Hampus Lindholm. What was he, and how comparable is he to Hanifin?
It's comparable.
And they got a first and 2 seconds and signed him immediately to an 8-year extension. And he played on the top pair with
I'm
Charlie
not saying
McAvoy.
It can't be done.
Right.
What I'm saying is I think it's hard. I don't think you're getting that for Noah Hanifin. I really don't.
So you think
I know Hampus Lindholm got it. I don't think a team is going to pay multiple picks. And that I just don't.
I will look at
if you're getting a first and 2, trade him RFN.
Yeah, well, and it doesn't work right now because you got to eat a bunch of cap, and then the longer that, like, it makes a lot of sense at the deadline. It's really tough to make that deal now, and I think you've been a little soured because there wasn't a great market this summer because no one has fucking cap space this summer.
But
and when
you
get to the deadline, it's a much easier guy to fit in.
I understand, but in the summer you had every NHL team would be interested in a guy like Noah Hanifin in theory. When you get to the deadline, it's half the league that's going to make the playoffs. And of that half, we've talked about this over. How many teams have a need? How many teams are like him to the point that they're going to pay big? Do they have those assets? Do they have the salary cap room? There's just so many. It can happen.
What I'll do is I'll pull a list for tomorrow or later today, if I can figure it out, of deadline deals. I'll name the defenseman, and you tell me what they thought you got in trade. Like Ben Sherratt went for a first not long ago. Who's better?
Different. Well, they would rather have Sherratt.
No.
At that point, everybody loved Sherratt. Defensive defenseman, rugged, tough.
But second pair and doesn't skate nearly as well, doesn't play as many minutes. Like you could put them in the same box. First plus.
It is interesting, and I'm not
it's
coming at you.
The deadline is when you get the best value.
You've spent years talking about what is Noah Hanifin. He's only this. He's not this.
What I find frustrating with him is he's got every skill. Shoots it hard. Skates really well. Like what tool does he not have? And then you see him top out at like 44 points. And you're like, how with all these tools are you not a star? And that's fine. He isn't a star. But how with all those skills you can't run a power play 1 to me tells me the toolkit's not great. But he's still a very good 2-3 in this league on every team.
He is what he is. He might be I say he's a 3-4.
Yeah, if you're a cup contender, he's probably a 3.
I think he's a second pairing defenseman on a
cup contender. So if you play him in Vegas, it's like Pietrangelo, Theodore, he's on a second pair with somebody like, damn it, we're deep as shit. And that second pair is going to play 22 to 24 minutes a night. That's a big role.
And if that team looks at it and they've got a first round pick and that's their currency.
And we know it's going to be 25 to 32, right?
If that's their currency, a first round pick and maybe a prospect, is Noah Hanifin the defenseman that they want, depending on what the crop looks like? And is there need on defense or in goal or up front? He might be a 3-4 for them, but they may feel we've got good defensive depth, but we could use a scoring winger. We could use a centerman. That's how we're going to.
Every year we see teams needing D. I don't see a lack of.
We also see a team like Winnipeg that was really good a couple years ago.
Yeah,
I gotta think that, and they went and got what was
Jordy Ben to be a 7.
Right?
Maybe they thought they were getting Jamie.
That's they play different positions, and that would be a weird phone call. Yeah,
it's like shit. Which one did we?
This is the Kurt Sauer, Jeff Finger thing all over again.
This is the brother. Oh, for
Jeff Finger. Seriously, there are teams that they go, yeah, we need a defenseman, but I can't pay that price. I'll get someone shittier and just pray that my guys don't get hurt.
It's awfully sportsy, Pinder. Where's the guys getting kicked in the balls? Where are these, Jack? Where's the video of like a bull harpooning a guy in the gut?
Like we see
shark video.
Top 4D, like he's not Ekholm, but they got Ekholm as first plus.
They're again different player.
Totally. And again, I said not that, but again, he's going to play similar minutes, similar role.
There was this video I saw yesterday of these divers. They found this shark that they thought had to be 50 years old, 8 feet wide.
8
feet wide.
That's a vehicle, Dean.
It's a tiger shark.
Is that a megalodon?
Unbelievable, like just a heebie-jeebies.
Just swallow you.
Gavrikov went for a first last year.
I'm not getting any closer to getting in the ocean.
Gavrikov, I don't know.
That's the fucking Columbus team that went to LA. Exactly my point. That guy got a first plus.
Yeah, but it's a first plus what?
I'm just saying Hanifin's better than a lot of guys that get first of the down. If you're worried about not getting first,
not against you. I think you probably do get a first for Hanifin. I just, even at that, okay, where's the draft? He was a number 5 pick overall.
I mean, no one cares where he was drafted in 2013 or whatever it was. Like, do you at this point, 10 years later, it matters where he was picked?
Well, are you going to get a better player at the 28th pick than Noah Hanifin?
Sorry, I thought you meant where he was drafted in his draft class. I mean, you're going to get a later first if you're trading him to a cup contender because the cup contenders have picks 17 through 32.
Yeah.
Those are your playoff teams. You're going to pick in the 20s, but again, give yourself another bullet. Maybe you take number 11 overall and 24 and you can move up to 6. I don't know. Keep getting assets. Get more picks.
Why do you hate Noah Hanifin?
He just hates Noah Hanifin.
Can't stand Noah Hanifin. Jeez, just let it go.
And Noah likes everybody.
He's a nice guy. Remember we met him after the game?
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Just affable fellow.
Signed a hat for you.
Probably loves the Red Sox.
He does love the Red Sox.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.